biggest supports throughout my life. Tim Lee is in the audience today.
And also from St. Louis, we have our CEO and founder, Kathy Lambert here. We have our regional director, Brandy Yonka. And we have newly on our staff, Jermaine. Jermaine, I forgot your last name. That's how new you are.
Wilson.
Wilson. Okay. All right, so Jermaine Wilson. He's our community outreach coordinator as well.
And part-time mayor of Lebanon.
And part-time.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for coming.
You know what, for me, it's a faith journey. I loved what I was doing. I had a business with a partner in corporate training. Loved it, but I just knew that there was something more that I was supposed to do.
It was sort of homegrown over the years. It really came out of our passion to help the underserved.
Of course, I started it, and women were coming just before I knew it from the city. They were coming from all over this region just to come to this little tiny church for a suit.
And our mission from the beginning has been to assist disadvantaged families, men and women.
I learned so much from the women that came in. I learned about poverty. I learned about being a single mom and having no transportation, having to maybe walk, take the bus.
Kathy and Brad Lambert have taken this concept of making a positive difference in people's lives and just built this whole organization that is on the national radar for doing wonderful work and making a difference.
Yeah, we seek to pass excellence onto them so that they can have excellence in their lives. We do that in many ways. We do that through our suitings, through our career development training, our nationally recognized training. We're always striving to set the bar for that with excellence. And we're constantly forming as an organization trying to reach that next level of excellence.
So even if I'm taking part of my own classes and getting training and doing education and trying to figure out what I can do better myself, I'm telling the participants to do the same. So if I have to know that if I'm investing in myself, I have to tell them to invest in themselves and what they do and how they can better themselves and build a better future. I have to do it for me as well. So I think that's what it's all about.
That's what we're always doing here at Connections, setting that bar, always striving to be better than we were yesterday, always striving to create more new and dynamic ways that we can serve our people right from the very beginning. As Kathy rolled around with her office on wheels, trying to help people, we have always constantly and been committed to driving home excellence.
Thank you, Jeff. So when we think about small changes that need to be made, there's a quote that I found, it was anonymous, and it said, small changes in key areas set in motion consistent growth with potential to improve every aspect of life. There's a co-worker that I talked to recently, and her daughter just got an apartment. And in her apartment, she was able to put up a furniture piece of a table or something, and she laid it on by her wall. So her mom walked in, which is the coworker. Her mom walked in and said, "Hey, that's a great looking table right there." And so, and she said, "But wait a minute, there's some pieces on top of that table." And her daughter was like, "Yeah, I didn't get to that part of the pieces. You know, that's not a matter. But the table looks good, right?" And so she's like, "I guess so." So when you think about small changes and growth, sometimes we might miss the small things that we need to keep ourselves growing, to keep our organizations growing, and to make sure we maximize our potential. So for 20 years in our organization, we have done that, providing people with hope, plan, and a resource. And I'm just grateful to know that we've done that, and I'm grateful for Kathy and Brad for being the founders and being able to make that happen for us.
So over the course of the last 20 years, Brad and Kathy Lambert have been champions of growth. So how does an organization with a proven, evidence-based model grow? How do we become better in light of our successes? I mean, the statistics are incredible. 82% of Connections participants receive earning increases within 6 months of employment. We boast a 14% recidivism rate, and that's 8% if an individual's matched with a mentor. And for every dollar invested in Connections to Success, we have a return rate of $3.13 into the economy, including incarceration costs. And 70% of all participants who owe child support, who take our training, make timely payments within a 3-month period.
And so right here you have, we have our Pathways to Success model. And in this model is basically a snapshot of the lifelong engagement that a participant will have when they enter into our organization and for life. And so we'll pass out some handouts for you so you can better look at what our Pathways model does. But as you can see, at the core of our organization is our personal and professional development training, which is also PPD. It's a 12-day training where participants will be able to go through and learn life skills, cognitive and behavior development for their careers, be able to basically set goals and be able to move on forward in their life and build relationships.
This is all done through motivation and inspiration. Connections has long been known for excitement and energy that we bring into each day and our staff culture. The energy is translated in interactive and exciting courses throughout our 60+ hours of training that we provide. What we found is that when people are inspired, when they're filled with confidence for what's possible, they will find that all too pervasive characteristic lacking in those we serve: hope.
But if we're this good, how can we be better?
Well, to better understand this question, first we have to understand just exactly what we do at Connections to Success. Okay, so that's not all we do.
And so when we think about poverty, when we think about the cycle of poverty, we always associate it with someone not having money or maybe not having a job. But when you think about it, and when I think about it, growing up in that type of neighborhood or environment, it's generation to generation. It's the impact. When somebody is released from incarceration and when they're coming out into society, there's so much that goes on beyond, what we see and what we might see in media. And so this cycle of poverty has a widespread impact, contributing to issues like crime, unemployment, poor health, domestic violence, isolation, and depression. So we have to realize that when we're thinking about poverty, not just what we already know or see, it's far than that.
Now our mission is to break this cycle by helping people living in challenging situations reestablish hope, get connected with needed resources, and implement a plan to reach economic independence. We do this through a wide range of family and community-oriented events and programs.
There's also something that we do as a professional women's group, which is also PWG. And what that is we have women that come in monthly, and they actually learn and grow, learn about the workforce, learn about the labor market, and even entrepreneurship. So it's an awesome event.
And there's our Connect groups that meet twice a month, where we bring our participants and their families in for dinner, games, and great conversation. There's also our Career Connect days that provide a space for the unemployed and underemployed to come in and look for a job.
We also hold an annual Christmas party where it allows present and past participants to come in. Last year was phenomenal. That was my first time being there. And so I just had a blast just seeing everybody there. We're taking pictures. It's like a big family. We love what we do, and we love the community partners that we have. There's also Dress for Success KC, where we provide interview-appropriate attire for our participants.
And that's a little bit from us, but let's hear from a couple of our participants.
The first thing I thought when I was out of prison was that no one would hire me, that I was a felon, so I was just tainted, and I would always have obstacles and I would just never be able to overcome.
So in 2009, I was convicted of a second-degree murder in the ACA. And I spent 9 years in the Department of Corrections of a 10-year sentence.
For those coming out of prison, I just want to say it's really hard.
During the time, I was able to find myself and to better myself, and also to take accountability for that. It impacted a lot of people, and that really hurt me. There's so much motivation and inspiration and hope and resources that are available through Connections to Success. Everybody needs it. If you're ever down on your luck, or if you ever find yourself with 3 weeks to spare, I highly recommend this course.
Connections to Success has taught me to strive for more, to do more, to want more, and not to settle for anything less.
So you see, Connections has a storied history of inspiring families to realize their dreams and achieve economic independence by providing hope, resources, and a plan.
But what makes an organization great is constant growth. We have to remember that. And remember at the beginning, small changes, you got to remember that. And basically, while challenging itself, we have to take an honest look at what we're missing. And that's where the table aspect came, what I talked in the beginning. And me as a facilitator, I have a unique opportunity to meet our participants in the classroom, in our 12-day training. And in our pathways model, the first stop that a participant would have is with their life transformation coach, otherwise known as an LTC. And that's where, on enrollment, that person would come in, and they'll meet their LTC, and they'll spend time with them, and they'll learn about their resources and needs going forward and how they can be most successful in our 12-day training. So as a facilitator, oftentimes, with the impact I know that I can provide, the life coach coming forward may have missed some opportunities of where some crucial information as a trainer what I can use to be more successful for them. Oftentimes we may not have the full story on an individual because of the interview may have been done too quickly, or circumstances may have changed, or we have hours that we have set. And so sometimes, hey, bring them on in. We want everybody to come in our doors, right? But we have to also look at what we can do better to grow. Another thing that we do is something called the Holland Code Assessment, which what we learned here in OWDS and what we've been doing is where we have a 3-code interest deal where we are able to see what careers are best fit our participants. And so in the training, we actually do that. And we actually are able to see the participant maximize their own potential and seeing, oh my gosh, I have so much more in me that I didn't know I had. And so what happens is after that code is given, we'll spend time on that. We'll end the class, we'll have a celebration, and we'll do that. And then they're going to the life coach where they can work on lifelong engagement with their life coach. But oftentimes, with the hustle and bustle and things, we may fail to have the life coach actually work with that person on their code and how they can actually reach the job that fits their potential. And so, when a participant is completed with having an LTC work with them, they're going to walk with them through something called a life plan. And that life plan focuses on 12 areas of their life. And that ranges from employment, housing, parenting, child support, transportation. And the LTCs, what they'll do is they'll update the participant and support them ongoing.
Now, working with offenders is a challenging profession. Each individual is unique, and the challenges that each person faces upon returning to their community are complex. And often what may work for one returning citizen is completely different for another. And to add to this complex facet of our organization are those team members who might be unfamiliar with the journey of what it's like returning to your community from incarceration. Now, Connections serves a wide demographic of individuals, yet the largest of that are those affected by the justice system. So how do we best serve our participants in a world that makes them out?
It's just what you want. You see that, right? He wants you. You understand?
I have never been in an institution, and I've been in plenty across this country that's ever seen inmates behave like that. But that's our stereotype. So how do we deal with that? If we're trying to focus on getting our individuals through our training, continually investing in them through their lives in a world that might look at them like that, how do we do that? Well, we watched the video of David and Sarah, and yeah, it's easy for us to highlight 2 really great participants who, though faced a tough road upon their release, were, if we are honest, already on their way to change. We just had to give them that extra push.
But we all know for every one successful person in our profession, we may have many more who can't seem to overcome the burdens in front of them. With issues in life like housing, stability, transportation fines, and old court cases, those participants may have a desire to complete our training, but reasons often outside of their control.
That's where we chose to focus our attention in our action plan. At the very beginning with assessments, and no, I don't mean we kick people out just because they don't have a desire to work.
And so because, after all, it isn't our job to inspire those who just don't want to work. We don't want that, right? And so how do we apply assessments properly? Well, first, we need to make sure we focus on their class time? How are they able to focus on their class time with all the burdens they have going on in their head? As a facilitator, I see it. I see it every day in and day out. It's a lot and overwhelming for them. How can we properly serve them throughout the rigor of the training? So are we making sure that we're able to navigate their needs during this 12 days? And how can we make a smooth handoff and transition to their life coach? That's something important.
And one such way to do that is, this nice looking lady, right, is to implement in our organization Schlossberg's transition theory, an observation of the transitions one has in their life, in their relationships, their routines, their assumptions, and their roles. Connections to Success serves almost entirely those who are facing some sort of major transition back into the community. Now, Schlossberg identified 4 major sets of factors that influence a person's ability to cope with these transitions. They are situation, self-support, and strategies. Applied correctly, the transition theory will, among many broader applications, be able to assess a person's overall situation, find out personal characteristics of the person, and get an understanding of the participant's social supports, and then we could come up with an effective strategy to move forward.
So primarily trainers, mentors, life coaches, and other support staff, we can use assessments to help our participants be successful. And there's information that me as a trainer and other trainers, as we go on, that we need to hear before a participant starts the 12-day training. And as trainers, we need to make sure we're properly giving information to our life coaches so they'll be able to move forward. So say, for instance, a person will start our class day 1. Great, they're in class, we got them. But we may not have heard or gotten all the information we needed. But on our 5th day, we might have found out that they probably won't be a good fit. Maybe we need to refer them to other resources, or maybe we need to make sure that they're housing, they're stable. But if I don't know and trainers don't know, we need to make sure they're successful. So that's kind of where we need to hit our mark. And this is all from observations, speaking with staff at our office and making sure we were able to get everything going. And so basically, when we do this training, at the end, and our objective basically is by the end of training, Connections to Success program staff will be able to apply the transition interview from what we learned from Schlossberg, the action plan, which is the life plan, the 12 areas that I told you all about that we do and that each participant will do with their life coach and in class and work on in class. And then also the referral. So the referral, that can be from vocational training, that can be a job, that can be counseling, that can be whatever resource that may be. So we have to make sure we follow those lines.
So we come up with a few ways to do this. One of which is to have a briefing before even day 1 of training. We'll have assessment strategies ready. We'll ensure support staff are assigned roles, and we'll review policy and ensure all staff are informed. We'll have a debriefing after week 1, and we'll find out what are the situations of the participants. How has their view of self changed since day 1? Because we know it's going to happen based on our history. And how can we strategize to see our participants successfully complete the rest of training? And then we'll brainstorm those supports. Now, we'll then do a briefing after day 12 with the life coaches and our leadership staff while we focus on the employability and the goals participants have set both short and long term. We'll do the Holland Code again, and then we'll move into the action plan and referral, like Lucretia said.
So basically, if the 4S model is done at the very beginning, the life coach and the trainer will be able to see someone be a great fit for our 12-day training, and we'll be able to refer them to other agencies if need be. After all, we learn in OWDS training, in this training, that we don't want to work outside our scope of practice. We want to make sure we stay in our scope. So if it's something that we really can't handle, refer. Also, this will allow us to continue providing services with a strategy to see greater outcome, not only day 1, but throughout the whole training and for the participant's life.
After we're helping to provide this whole resources and a plan to those transitioning into society, we have to make sure we have a process. And like any great organization, we have to effectively communicate that process and then ultimately equip the staff as well. Thank you.